In the tropics of Southeast Asia, on the island of Mindanao in the southern Philippines, lies one of the Earth's last great unexplored rainforests. For millions of years, the forest has flowed like an inland ocean across jagged mountains and down to the banks of shining rivers, covering the steep slopes and deep valleys with dense jungle. Dark rain clouds often added to the aura of mystery and foreboding. Fearful folk living outside believed wild beasts and savage spirits inhabited the forest depths. Few people ventured inside. But that unknown interior vibrated with countless forms of life. And within this luxuriant undergrowth lived people. A people who knew not how or why they had come into this forest. They knew merely that they had spent so many generations beneath the leaves that the forest was home as far back as any remembered. It was their world, their universe. They learned the forest's laws of survival and learned to rely upon one another. Alone they were weak. Together they had strength. Through difficult times they clung to the words of an ancestor who said, "Let us call all men one man, all women one woman."
The exact time remains unknown, will always remain unknown. When did the Tassidae encounter civilization? The Message from the Stone Age was authored by John Nance, an American photojournalist who took up the cause of the Tassidae tribe in the Philippines. For an initial answer to our question, let's now turn to an NBC television broadcast.
Defal, the hunter, is probably the most important person in the Tassidai's history. One day in 1966, he left his village of Blit and set off into the nearby rainforest. It was a trip he had made many times, but this time he was to go deeper into the woods and discover the Tassidai. Anthropologists half-jokingly refer to the periods of Tassidai history as before and after Defal.
The before and after joke refers not to Christ, but to the Garden of Eden and the fall from paradise to civilized society. Defal brought the Tassidai to the attention of Manuel Elizalde Jr., the Harvard-educated head of Panamine, Ferdinand Marcos's presidential arm for national minorities and heir to one of the Philippines' wealthiest families. Elizalde, known as Manda, went public with the discovery, and the story was picked up by the media. We can date his initial encounter with the Tassidai to June 1971. At that time, the Vietnam War was cutting its bloody course through the headlines, and simultaneously, the U.S.-allied Marcos regime was already coming under heavy criticism. The discovery of a Stone Age tribe living just 1,000 miles to the west of Vietnam, across the South China Sea, was nothing short of a revelation. Let's now return to our NBC documentary.
A small clearing has been cut on the top of a mountain. Landing there, one steps back thousands of years, and we meet our Stone Age ancestors face to face.
The Cave People of the Philippines is brought to you by the complete line of indoor and outdoor raid bug killer that hunts bugs down and kills them dead.
The program premiered on October 10, 1972. A degraded videotape of the complete broadcast somehow made its way to me in the 1980s. From from the crumbling images and static, a world of beauty and mystery arises. As was customary at the time, the program jumped rapidly between the historical, the lyrical, and the speculative. I've done some minor edits here to compile a picture of the Tacidites' daily life and customs.
The stream is the most important factor in the Tacidites' lives. Along it, they gather their food, play, and bathe. Everyone pitches in. As in all their work, there is no division of tasks according to sex. No orders are given. There seems to be no specific assignment of tasks. But whenever something needs to be done, somehow, someone is there to do it. The food is always divided exactly. It is shared with almost mathematical precision.
Their lives revolved seamlessly between the caves, the forest, and the stream. The present spoke directly to the past, a fluid continuum of tribal life, not so much ignoring progress as transcending it.
At some distant point in time, the Tacidae lost contact with other groups. Once they settled in their caves, they never ventured far from them. The rest of the world went its way, and the Tacidae became fixed in time. Their affection for each other is obvious and constant. They are non-aggressive. They have no religious rituals. They have neither art nor written language. They have no words for weapons, hostility, or war. The children are never struck. Angry voices are never heard. Play is gentle. The older children take care of the younger ones. It is as though they are all one family.
The images floating across the screen are not only mysterious, but utopian, a model for how human civilization can be in the most perfect of worlds, a true Garden of Eden.
In their daily life, the tribe combines work and play in a way that we have long since forgotten. The stream is pure and provides their drinking water. Wild fruit grows along the bank, and it's a simple matter of climbing a tree for a midday snack. This is the way life had been for the cave people for thousands of years, until the day in 1966 when they met the hunter Defal in the forest. Until then, they were a food-gathering band, a group at the lowest level on the scale of human existence, with no knowledge of agriculture, no domestic animals.
What happened after Defal to shatter this picture of perfection and innocence? In Book 7 of Plato's Republic, Socrates reveals to Glaucon the allegory of the cave. Socrates' vision is quite different than NBC's. Isolation is nothing to romanticize. He imagines a people raised in a cave since birth, their legs and necks chained so that they cannot move. They can see only a wall before them, prevented by the chains from turning their heads. Behind them, a fire blazes at a distance. Between the fire and the people's backs is another shorter wall, above which puppeteers perform a puppet show. The prisoners see only the shadows of the puppets cast on the surface they face. To them, said Glaucon, the truth would literally be nothing but the shadow of the puppets. The shadow play is the world itself. In such a world, wouldn't the whole of society depend upon the shadows? Socrates asks, what would happen if one from such a group were freed from his chains, allowed to stand and turn around? Confronted by the fire, says Socrates, he will suffer sharp pain. The glare will distress him, and he will be unable to discern the very things that cast the shadows he had been watching all his life. Socrates describes a period of acclimatization, of the prisoners adapting to a new understanding enabled by the sight of the fire and the puppet